All right, let's dive right into one of India's most shocking, high-profile mysteries. We're looking at a real-life crime case that completely stunned an entire country. As we untangle this web today in our explainer, we're going to explore a story that's this intense mix of glamour, immense power, media influence, and ultimately, the ultimate family betrayal. It's known as the Sheena Bora Murder Case, and the details we are about to uncover are, quite frankly, stranger than fiction. So, what really happened to Sheena Bora? That's the central question that turned this entire case into a total national obsession. An ambitious young woman just vanishes, and for years, nobody seems to know the truth. By the end of our time today, you'll see exactly how a carefully constructed web of lies finally unraveled, and how this single haunting question completely dominated the daily news cycle. Section 1. A high-profile mystery. To really understand the magnitude of this case, we have to look at the glamorous setting and the initial players involved. Picture this. We're in Mumbai, and there's an ambitious young woman named Sheena Bora. She gets drawn into the luxurious, high-society orbit of the central figure in this whole mystery, Indrani Mukherjee. Now, Indrani was a highly successful media personality. Her life was the absolute epitome of success, filled with incredible luxury, widespread fame, exclusive parties. To the outside world, they were just two women navigating Mumbai's upper echelons. But the reality hidden behind those closed doors, it was entirely different. Section 2. The Dark Family Secret. The relationship between Sheena and Indrani was incredibly complicated. There was this massive secret at the foundation of their dynamic, a secret so highly guarded that it would later become the defining shock factor of the entire criminal investigation. For years, a massive lie was carefully maintained. Indrani introduced Sheena to high society, and to the world, really, as her sister. But the dark reality? Sheena was actually Indrani's daughter. This family connection was intentionally suppressed to protect an image. And when it finally leaked out, it sent absolute shockwaves across the nation. Section 3. The silent 2012 disappearance. That shocking secret sets the stage for a major turning point. Fast forward to 2012, and Sheena Bora suddenly vanishes, literally without a trace. One day she's navigating her ambitious life in Mumbai, and the next, she's simply gone. In the weeks that followed, her friends and close circle just kind of assumed she had relocated, maybe to start a new life in another city. But months later, there was a glaring, disturbing absence of any missing person report from her own family. As the years passed, all that remained was a chilling, unbroken silence. Think about it. Normally, if a young woman disappears into thin air, her family panics, right? They go to the police, they launch a search, they make noise. But here, there was only deliberate silence from the people closest to her. The silence itself became incredibly suspicious, suggesting someone knew exactly why she wasn't coming back. Section 4. A driver's dark confession. Despite that suspicion, the case sat completely cold. That is, until we jump forward 3 years. The crucial turning point hits in 2015. Mumbai police were actually working on an entirely separate, totally unrelated investigation when they arrested a driver named Shambar Rai. During his interrogation for that other crime, things took a sudden and very dark turn. The police accidentally stumbled onto a terrifying truth that literally no one was looking for. The driver just dropped this absolute bombshell on the police. He said Sheena Bora was murdered and her body was disposed of. I mean, wow. The police were suddenly handed the key to a 3-year-old disappearance, triggering an immediate, high-priority murder investigation that peeled back all those layers of high society to reveal a brutal crime. Based on the ensuing investigation, police reconstructed the horrifying execution of the crime. First, back in 2012, Sheena was lured and trapped inside a car in a highly planned manner. Next, she was killed via silent strangulation, a cold, clinical, premeditative execution with absolutely no public scene. Finally, her body was transported and disposed of in Maharashtra's Raigad district. Thanks to this confession, police were actually able to travel to that exact location, recover the remains, and initiate forensic testing to confirm her identity. Section 5. Media storm and motives. Once the police connected this gruesome crime back to a prominent socialite, the fallout was instantaneous. We're talking a massive media explosion, subsequent arrests, and a desperate search to understand the motivation behind such a chilling betrayal. The police moved swiftly with high-profile arrests. First, Indrani Mukherjee herself. then the driver, Shambar Rai, and later, Indrani's husband, Peter Mukherjee. The public was absolutely stunned that a successful, powerful media executive was facing allegations of murdering her own daughter. But as the court trial began, the case became heavily complicated by circumstantial evidence and constantly changing statements under intense public pressure. As the trial unfolded, the biggest question became why? Several motives were theorized. Was it a property dispute? A deep relationship conflict? Was it all about protecting that carefully managed public reputation, or were there hidden financial issues? We call these unproven motives because, to this day, the exact singular reason remains shrouded in mystery. And it's exactly this lack of a clear, definitive motive that has turned this case into a real-life psychological thriller. When we step back and look at all this, a very dark lesson emerges. Sometimes the biggest danger comes from inside the family, not outside. This case perfectly illustrates the dark side of immense power, money, and the desperate need to protect a manufactured image. It shows us that a family betrayal can actually be the most tragic and lethal force of all. Which brings us to our final provocative thought. Even with the arrests, the trial, and the endless media debates, this case reminds us that no matter how deep a secret is buried, the truth always finds a way out. But it also leaves us with a lingering chill. Looking at all this circumstantial evidence and the shifting stories, people still ask this question today. What really happened to Sheena Bora, and why? The complete truth might still be hiding in the shadows. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.